Hey everybody, I wanted to introduce myself. Jared Robertson. This is Robertson Ranch YouTube channel. I'm based out of Georgia, northeast region. This is a veteran-owned cattle ranch that I guess I'm technically third generation. My grandmama moved here in the 80s and started farming, and I bought it out from her a few years ago before I left the Air Force, and started doing my own thing over here, really. I'm big into rotational grazing, regenerative farming, getting the bang for your buck. Those Greg Judy guys and all of them on YouTube and whatnot. I've done a lot of research the last 5 years, watching them, reading books, learning, consuming all I could while I was overseas. And now I'm just trying to put it in play, really. As you can see, I got me a little herd here. It ain't much. We run semi-Angus cattle. I got a 75-25 Simmental Baldy bull mixed with Angus. That's the 25%. I'll walk over here and show them to you. I bought these cows between last year and this year, which you might be thinking, how the heck did you do that with this cattle market being so high? That's that bull right there. Very docile. 75% Simmental, 25 Angus Baldy bull. It just rained a lot, thank goodness. If you from this area, you around this part of the state, we've been in a pretty bad drought this summer. The end of May and June, when it started getting hot, it got dry, and all that spring flush went away, and summer grasses could just not thrive at all. And it hit us pretty hard. Our second cut in the crop, the hay, is pretty much ruined. So hopefully we can get a decent yield after all this rain, but you know how that goes. I actually bought some hay a few weeks ago from a boy up the road, some fescue, rye, and Bermuda mix, just because I know I'm going to be short on hay this year due to that drought. And I wanted to buy before hay prices skyrocketed like everyone knows they do when there's a drought. By the time winter hits, hay prices are going to be double. It don't matter. It's just going to happen. Supply and demand, basic economics. So I figured I'd go ahead and bite the bullet and spend the money and get myself prepared for the winter. Obviously, the goal in rotational grazing and regenerative farming is to feed the least amount of hay as possible and don't spend so much money on feed. Now, I don't feed grain specifically for this farm. I don't care for it and how much it costs. It doesn't make sense for me to feed grain. The only thing I do feed are cubes, like protein cubes you can buy. That's mostly to get them trained when I first bought them, to move them from paddock to paddock when I want them to, or when I yell for them, they're going to go wherever I want them to go. And it makes working them in a corral so much easier on me. I'm sure one of y'all out there have witnessed crazy cows, especially in tight corners in a corral. It ain't fun. I actually still have a crazy cow, 2 of them really. One's the craziest, is Baldy right here. Let's see if I can zoom in on her right there. She is a hothead, and she done about killed me once or twice. I tried tagging her calf. It's her calf right down yonder. That black Baldy right there, little bull playing with that red calf. I know they say don't keep crazy cows, and I don't have any intentions on keeping her, but she did throw a really nice bull calf, so when it's time to sell him, I'll let her ride with him sometime this fall whenever I do decide to sell. And I'm gonna let her go. I did sell 3 bulls yesterday, and let me think. One weighed 720, one weighed like 585, and the other one was like 470, maybe 475. He was flirting 500. He wasn't far from under it. But prices are looking pretty stout still. For some bull calves, you know, I was still averaging, what was it? I think $230 a pound. With all 3 together, I think that was about the average was $230, which, you know, I know prices got higher last year for sure and the beginning of this year, but I'm not gonna complain. It's a hell of a lot better than $1.05, $1.20 a pound. I tell you that. Back when you was getting $600-700 for a calf, and now you're getting $1,200 to $1,500 a calf. I mean, it's a wild world we living in right now. And they say when things go up, they must come down, but everybody's selling so much that, you know, what's that supply gonna be like next year? All these folks are selling mama cows, right? Slaughter cows are going for $1.20 a pound. Well, if you got you a 1,300-1,400 pound mama cow, a big old girl, and they're selling for $1 plus, well, you're gonna be wanting to sell that thing. All your heifers are going for $250. You're gonna want to sell them. You ain't gonna want to keep them back. That's good money right there. And next year, that's gonna bring us to a shamble or especially the next 2 years, where replacements are gonna be a dime a dozen. And well, not even a dime a dozen. I mean, it's a gold mine, you know, if you can find them. And when you do find them, it's gonna be a price that you probably ain't gonna be able to afford it unless you go to the banking man. I mean, even slaughter bulls are going, what was it? I saw it in a sale yesterday. It was about 1,500, 2,000 pound bulls going for over $1. They're like $1.30. I mean, I'm sorry. It was probably like $1.40. And I ain't never in my life seen that before, but I was like, damn, makes you want to sell everything. But I love this stuff, you know. Some folks sold and got out, which I understand, especially when you've been doing it for so long and you got you a 100 head, 150 head, and you can sell them and get you a check that's going to last you until the God takes you away from here. You know, I understand, but I've grown to have a passion for this sort of thing. And as aggravating as cows can be, I do really enjoy fooling with them. Now you look at this girl right here. See them swollen udders? So her calf passed shortly after having her. I bought her as a pair from a boy, and I was winging it. You know, she wasn't the best. She ain't a bad looking cow, but she just wasn't nothing crazy. She ain't no registered Angus mama or nothing like that. But she was doing all right. I think her calf got sick in the transition. I honestly think the boy bought him from the sale barn and then turned around and flipped him and made a couple $100. But I think her calf got that little sickness calves usually get when they go from barn to barn or farm to farm. And you couldn't even tell she was sick, a little heifer calf. You couldn't even see that she was sick until the day she died. And I found her. You could tell she was running a fever. She was trying to lay down in the water. And she just wasn't breathing good. And she kept on trying to find water to lay in. And I could tell she was running hot. So I called the vet, got her some shots, ran back to the house and gave her the shot, and an hour and a half later she was gone. So, you know, that's just part of it. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes it feels like you lose all of them. I started off with 3 heifers on this farm and a bull. That was my original herd. And the first heifer, the calf died about a quarter of the way out. I wasn't there in town to be able to pull the calf, but the calf died, and you could tell it, and she had it halfway hanging out of her, trying to push it all out, and she couldn't. It was a big old calf. I ended up weighing that little baby, and it weighed 94 pounds. I mean, it was huge. And for a heifer, as y'all know, I mean, you don't want no 94-pound calf coming out of no heifer. I mean, that's just not good for your farm. It ain't good for the mama. You don't want that around here. So that happened. And then the second heifer, that calf was this red one right here. See her? She got some horns. She's the only cow I got with horns. And I don't like horns, but you know, she throws good calves, so I'll keep her for a little while. And she's docile, so. But she threw a good calf, but the calf came out backwards, so I had to call the vet because I was at work. Called the vet. I raced down there about an hour away, and we pulled that calf. She ended up being just fine. She's, I don't know if we can see her or not. Her big old butt. It's that little heifer calf with the white legs right yonder eating. She's pretty. She's getting bigger than her mama. Her mama's not a big cow at all, which is why I was shocked she threw such a great calf. But you know, diamond in the rough, they say. And then my third heifer just calved 2 days ago. Her baby is somewhere. I think she's laying down somewhere sleeping probably. But we ended up having to pull her 2 nights ago, her calf out. It wasn't a big calf though. I mean, it wasn't no 90-pound calf. I didn't weigh it, but it was probably about 70, 75. Still a little bigger than I wanted a heifer, but she just couldn't give me none. She got to the knuckle on the hooves, and she just couldn't go no further. So I put her in the chute and pulled her on out. That's her right there licking her ass right there. Got them flies on her. It just rained. All these flies are coming out. But that's her. That's the heifer right there. She looks good. She's a great looking heifer. She ended up doing good though, and the calf sucking, and her mama instincts kicked on in, so that's always good. This grass out here I got is pretty diverse, which I like, and I know a lot of rotational grazing style farmers like it too. You know, you don't want to rely on just one seed in your seed bank. But as you can tell, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of Johnson grass. Surprisingly, it's not as much as it was last year. I guess the seed bank just swapped turns, or if that drought messed everything up, but it's probably like 25 to 50% of the field is Johnson grass, which is pretty normal in this part of the country. You also see a lot of Bermuda starting to thrive because we finally got some rain a couple weeks ago after a 1.5 month drought. We finally got some rain, and the Bermuda and Bahia came up good. I do have a lot of horse nettle. Now I've seen videos, you see it right here, of cows eating this stuff. I know if you keep them in tighter and you know, keep them in tight paddocks, and they're gonna try to eat everything in front of them. Well, I put pretty tight paddocks on it, to what I think, and I know some folks call it total grazing or whatever you want to call it, really. But they seem like they're really full with it. I mean, they won't eat it at all. Maybe that's why that South Pole breed is the most elite breed there is when it comes to rotational grazing and regenerative farming mindsets. You know, I'm just running semi-Angus cattle because that's what, it was just at the moment the right thing that fell into my lap, and took advantage of what I had, the opportunity I had. And I do have a goal to buy some Simmental cattle, or disregard, I'm sorry, some South Pole cattle. And as soon as I can get on some more land, some more grass, I'm gonna end up buying some South Pole cattle. That's the goal. And like, I like this bull a lot, this Simmental bud, and when I get done with him, I'm gonna swap to South Pole bulls for sure. I just don't want to lose him yet. I think he's a great bull, and he's gonna do good for us. So for now, I'm gonna stick with him and see how it goes. I mean, who knows? Another opportunity might land in my lap. I need to get rid of them. But yeah, I got a little small herd here, just slowly building it as time goes on. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I bought the majority of these cows last year and this year, and it wasn't much good on the price, I would say. They're still expensive because cow prices are high, but I was in the right moment to buy some, and the prices I paid worked out in my favor as I planned, and the calves paid for their mamas. One calf paid for each mama, which is the goal for me. You know, I bought some bred cows, sold their calves, and I came out even, and now I'm going to make profit on those cows on the future to come. I bought 4 pairs. They're out here with this little herd I bought, and somewhere down the street at my other farm. I bought pairs. They had 4 cows with heifer calf on each hip. And if I don't keep those heifers back, I'll sell them this fall, and I'll make the money back that I paid for these mamas. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep these heifers back, these heifer calves. It's not because of the prices necessarily, because I was talking about how people aren't selling, or they are selling their heifers, and it's going to be hard to find replacements. I'm specifically probably going to sell them just because I don't care for how they look as much in their genetics. They're not ugly, they're not mangy. They're just not exactly what I'm looking for the risk of keeping a heifer calf, because you know you have to keep them for 2 years. You don't know if they're going to calf or not, how it's going to turn out, if they even catch. And that's another mouth to feed. If I'm going to keep a heifer back, I want her to be what I want. I mean, if you're going to spend that time and keep her on this grass, that's another head of cow that you're losing because you're keeping her back. She needs to be what you want. You don't want her to be something you just feel like you have to keep because you're trying to build your herd. You know, it's hard to buy replacements, for sure. But at this point, I'd rather sell the heifer calves that I don't really like too much, and then go buy something that I want, even if I have to go in the pocket, you know, a few $100s or another $1,000. It's just, that's how I feel about it. Now, if it's a heifer calf that I like, then I'm going to keep it. Obviously, if I can. I mean, there's circumstances where you might not be able to financially. But if these heifer calves turn out being a little bit better as they get older, then I'll end up keeping them. But that red one that was over there you saw earlier, she's just too much leg. Long legs, skinny body, and I want fat and low to the ground. You know that. I just want some cows that get wide bellies, short-legged. I bought some big cows only because that's the opportunity that landed in front of me when I was trying to get started. I could not afford South Pole cattle back then. South Pole cattle, from what I see, has become a pristine, valuable item, as in prices are high and they're hard to come by. But you get what you pay for, right? You pay for a breed that's gonna stay fat in a drought and stay fat in the winter eating hay and only weigh 900 to 1,000 pounds, and they're not doing so much damage to your earth as these big mamas are doing, like this girl right here. I mean, she is big. That's 1,500 pound cow right there, excuse me. Now, I don't love them because they're 1,500 pounds, but they are good cows, and they threw great calves, really good calves. But it is what it is. You know, they're older cows, so it's not like they're going to be here forever. And they actually do really well with rotational grazing. I've trained all these cows to strict rotational grazing every single day. I work a town job, so I can't sit out here all day with them and move them 2 or 3 times a day like I wish I could. And I know some farmers do. But I have a town job, so I have to move them once a day. And I move them in the evenings when I get home from work. And every single evening, it didn't take long at all. Every single evening, this is my favorite heifer right here. This is the one where the calf died the first time, and now she should be hopefully bred back now. The bull's been in with a month. little over a month. And she was the first one he rode, and he hadn't ridden her yet, so I'm hoping she caught. I'm gonna give her a second try. That's that heifer calf, that little small red cow I had. Look at her, she's stout. She's pretty, real pretty. She's wet right now from the rain, but I mean, she's the same size as her mama. Look, excuse the camera work, guys. I'm new to this, but that's her mama, little red cow. And that's her baby. I mean, she's a unit. She's a big old girl, growing quick. And that's why I want to keep that red cow with the horns, because, I mean, look at her calves. They grow fast. That calf was born in mid-February. I think it was February 10th. Mid-February, and she's a heifer, and she's growing like a bull. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat that at all. But yeah, you know, I train these cows to rotational graze every day. And now they're taught, and they know what's going to happen every evening. They're going to hear my gator crank up every evening, and they're going to want to move to the next grass. They know what they want. They don't want to go back to the old grass either. I did back fence it just because I have the opportunity to, because I have shade where the water is, which is way up around the corner and over by the barn. I got a long walk back, but there's plenty of shade on the walk over there. But they do love some rotational grazing. They get excited every evening I come home. And if you don't move them, they upset. And they will tell you that they're upset. So don't let anybody ever tell you that Simmental cows can't do this regenerative farming style, because they can. And they do thrive. Now, they're probably not as good as Southpaw when it comes to this lifestyle. We all know Simmental are bigger cows. They ain't nothing small. There ain't no 900-pound mamas nowhere. They ain't no 1,000, 1,100-pound bulls. But they do work. They do work good. But that's about it. I just want to introduce myself to this channel. This is new for me, so bear with me. I'm just gonna pretty much video what goes on day to day. Just because I enjoy watching other YouTube channels, I figured I'd jump on in and just kind of join a world that I enjoy watching. You know, I really enjoy watching other people farm, how they farm, even if it's different than me, and I might not agree with it. I still enjoy watching them and learning from other opinions on what they might do something differently. To me, that's neat. You know, sometimes books are great. I love books. I love reading about farming, ranching, everything. It's also really nice to see videos and just learn from other folks, physically see what these people are doing. But that's about it. I want to introduce myself and talk a little about what's going on out here. I actually have more cows than this. Down the street, I think I mentioned it earlier, down the street I have, let me think, I got 3 mama cows and 2 bred heifers over yonder. And two of those mama cows calved already, have some bull calves, and the third one I'm waiting to calf any second. The 2 heifers, I'm not sure if they're bred. I never got them preg checked. The guy thinks they were bred, but they're like 2 years old, and I can't really tell yet. They're not 3rd trimester if they are. So if they aren't bred, that's fine. They'll get caught this winter by my bull. When I put the bull in there with them, I'm gonna let that small herd calve in the fall. And this herd right here are spring calves. This is a spring calving herd. That's why the bull's in right now for the summertime, so they can start calving in March, April, and May. I know it's different out west and northwest and the north and some other places in the world. You can't calve in the March because it's snowing. Well, this is Georgia. And Georgia is hot, and winter don't last long, thankfully, because I can't stand the cold. But I can calve in the March, and in March I have volunteer rye, fescue, clover, red and white, thrive, and obviously with rain, and usually we have wet springs, especially beginning springs. Our springs are usually pretty wet, and we do good for ourselves like that. We get some good grazing starting March. You know, it really starts the end of February, but I don't really hit it hard until March. But yeah, that's a little bit about this farm, and this is Robertson Ranch. If you have any questions, just ask. I'm an open book. And I also don't take criticism hard at all. I take it as a learning curve for me. So if you have any suggestions or any kind of criticism for me, please let me know. I was in the military for 6 years, so I'm not scared for someone to speak the truth. I'm all about the truth. But I appreciate y'all for watching. Hope y'all dial in. If you enjoy what you're seeing, what you're talking about, subscribe, and let's talk about it. Comment. Let's have some conversations. I'm all about it. And yep, that's it. I'll see y'all on the next one. Appreciate you.